The twin flame journey can be shocking. And I believe that one of the biggest shocks actually is that it is legit. It's really obliterating of what you have been believing when you grew up in the family where you were a child, and also in the norms of the society that you went to school in and that you had jobs in and that you interact with still perhaps every day in shops, in your neighborhood, in your family, with your clients, all kinds of things. And it is shocking to find out that it is legit. The universe has really a mystical other way of functioning that when you get into touch with that, a lot of the times for you in a certain way, it feels involuntarily on the twin flame journey by seeing numbers, by finding coins, by getting a person in your life that feels very different than any other person and any other relationship you've ever had, and is shocking you to your core because of what they mirror of you in the divine love department, but also of the darkness that you may have not been acknowledging yet is also inside of you. Very shocking that it is so different, that the universe is actually functioning on a rather upside down way than what you thought before. Everything is one big matrix working together and projecting to you like a pulse. Here is the divine, here is value, here is your essential energy, here is what you are, here is the I am, here is love. This is unconditional love. This is a new mystical way. This is your mystical answer. And you feel as though you are taken into, perhaps still involuntarily in your perception that is temporary, in a sort of well, a fractal universe that is giving you things and bringing you places and giving this person again, and there's that same person again, and they touch me so much in my heart and I don't understand it, but there they are again, and there's their name again, and there's that number again, and there's their name again, and there's that number again, and you just feel as though this is another way of experiencing the universe than that you had learned that the universe should function as a logical thing, like 1 plus 1 is 2. And if I give a lot of my working hours, then I get a certain sum of money back, and that's all there is in life. And now it works very differently, and you feel dizzy by it. Yeah. And what's more, actually, when you complete the whole journey, or you get the true hunches that this is really the true twin flame and it can't be anything else anymore, then it starts to dawn on you that this thing that you have with this person functions upside down than what you have been experiencing and have been taught what love should be, what relationship should be, and it's completely upside down. And it's just all so shocking. It's a shock to the system, it's a shock to the ego. Well, that's actually the one that it is really shocking for. It's understandable that it seems shocking. And for me, there was, in a certain sense, when I look back on my journey that I've completed with Harmonious Union in March 2020, I see that there was a continuous thread of trying to get to grips with that it is actually legit. And this was taking so much of my journey, actually. It was a complete sinking in and a letting sinking in inside of me that it is true. It's normal. It's the new normal. It's legit. This is real. I'm not crazy. the interaction with the so-called logic and so-called normal relationship people is absolutely opposite of what unconditional love even is. It's absolutely opposite of how the universe actually works. And there is a lot of distance between what that is and the actual truth in the heart, how I feel it, and the wisdom accumulated from the divine itself directly, how I hear it. And there was a long time of sinking in that it is truly legit. Now, I already gave sort of the clue away, didn't I? That at the end of the day, at the end of the journey, I let go of that part of me that was still trying to make that twin flame ascended reality of the universe fit into the society with the logical norms and the conditional relationships. Because my difficulty in accepting that it was legit, it was ultimately placed in that I believed in my ego. I still believed in that society, and I still somehow tried to grab that matrix reality vortex idea, and I grabbed that unconditional love of the divine that the twin flame represents in your life in a very concrete and real way. And I tried to push that into the old relationship template and society template so that I would feed something real and true into the society and into the old relationship idea. And that ultimately did not work. You can't put the dizzying vortex into society and expect the society to accept that. You know, that's what it came down to. I was still trying to be socially acceptable in the old way because it was very clear that I was not going to be accepted in very many avenues that I walked earlier in life when I really took this seriously to the degree that I was going to be exactly this and nobody else, exactly in those places where I worked in really regarded places that were regarded as very culturally high places and stuff, you know, and in my family and whatnot. But that eventually did not work out because I was still trying to make my ego the center point that was now trying to put this legit divine love and push it into the structures of the old society. And it just didn't work. So yes, much of my journey was trying to process that shock, but I could only finish processing that shock that it was truly legit when I let go of trying to make the ascended value of divine love fit into society and those old things. And I let go of the ego in its entirety. And that's how I resolved that. Yeah. So, and the second big shock on the twin flame journey is, well, it's a dizzying thing. And I already talked about dizzying things in point 1, but here is another dizzying thing. Namely, how you are one and also two people at the same time. And this also needs processing to be accepted in, because it really seems like a Zen riddle. How can you be one at the core as twin flames? And at the same time, you are two people of flesh and blood that walk around the earth, that are born in separate families and grew up in separate places, that meet each other at a certain time and place that seems predestined and start to relate to each other, but how can they be one at the same time as that they are two? And this is dizzying. It's just like a Zen riddle that has no solution, because you keep on thinking about how this is possible and how can this fit into a logical equation of 1 plus 1 is 2 that you learn from society is the way to assess reality. And you can't make it work. And that's why it's a so-called Zen riddle, because you're just totally stuck there with your old conditioned mind, your programmed mind by the society. You're just totally stuck there. And to the amount that you're stuck there, instead of letting that Zen riddle so deep in that it transform you, you're trying to solve it, and that's why you're stuck. To the amount that you're stuck there, you are still believing in the old thing instead of letting it go. The amount of being stuck there is exactly equal to how dizzying it is for you, and how crazy you feel, and going around in a circle you feel, and sort of floating above your body, and literally dizzying you feel. By the way, I had that too, literally dizzying, like in like a medical way, let's put it like that. I had like vertigo, and I just fell down and had this vertigo that it feels dizzying, like reality feels dizzying to you, although it is not turning around, but in your perception it is turning around. And it comes with an incredible headache too, something like that. And I was completely paralyzed, and I had to lie down for 24 hours, and then it was okay again. And this happened when I was about to meet my true twin flame in 2015 in the fall. And now I see that it was also totally this dizzying experience of that spiritual journey, of the twin flame journey. And we had to reschedule, my twin flame and I, and we did next week. And then we just met, and I talked about it as it was something that I did not really understand, but it happened, and there we were, and now we could catch up again with each other with a cup of coffee, which we did. So it is dizzying to the amount of that you resist being taken over by it. Well, that's going to sound maybe even more scary, but it is the truth. You need to be eaten alive by this process. And then it won't be dizzying anymore, but you are starting to fall into that vortex, into that dizzying spiral, so deep that you start to float and float and float down and down and down. And the dizzy is just around you, but you are not bothered with that anymore, because you're just falling down to the truth of your being, and you're free falling, free floating eternally. And that is your new kind of rootedness. And that will slowly start to feel like very concrete, very relaxed, deeply relaxed, grounded and rooted, because you have taken away your investments of trying to root in society and conditional love, and now you're starting to root in unconditional divine love, and in the being one at the core kind of reality. And that is when the vertigo doesn't come back anymore, and where you don't feel dizzy anymore, and you accept that the Zen riddle of your two people and your one at the core at the very same time has been used to transform you completely, and you accept that it sounds like a riddle, and you're not worried about it anymore because you know it's the truth. End of story. And that's where you're grounding and rooting, and you will start to slowly feel very normal as the person that you've always known yourself to be, but then in the flesh, in real life. And that's where you start to arrive, and it's not shocking anymore. And the third twin flame shock is you're essentially inviting the divine literally into your actual physical life. Many people go to church or to their mosque or something else to have the opportunity to be getting into a relationship with the divine through rituals. And sometimes they do come a little closer to God because of that action of them, and sometimes not. Because actually getting closer with the divine is just dependent on coming closer to the divine and not necessarily on a building or a group of people or rituals. But sometimes it also is a form that is the externalization of a process of coming close with God and relating with God and speaking with the divine. But still, all of that can still very much be okay. You are relating with the divine as an abstraction, maybe in your brain or in your heart or in your feelings, maybe in the book, the holy book that you're reading, through the text, through some sort of form of understanding the parables and the stories and the teachings and the lessons. But the twin flame is so deep into that conversation with the divine. It is so deep in the actual organic spiritual journey that this is true, where this is true and where this works, where this originates from, that it is in fact the divine itself coming into your physical life, literally themselves, as the twin flame, as the highest connected to your divine order that manifested from the divine out. So it's a literal becoming flesh of the divine. In other words, you start to, let's flip it around, because that's maybe even deeper, you start to understand that everything and the whole universe and you and the camera and the people on YouTube and my screen and my microphone, everything is the divine. The divine is in the flesh, it's in the things, it's in the air that I breathe, it's the sound that I speak. It's everything. And the divine shows itself in everything, in your actual physical reality. The twin flame is that manifestation of your connection with the divine. And there they are. And that is shocking. It's a shocking thing because it's a manifestation of the physicality of the divine. Or in other words, the sacredness of life coming alive for you in all ways possible. You're surrounded by it and you are it. And that is shocking because it is so complete and so in your face. God is so intimately close by you just realize that you had overlooked it before. There is nothing but the divine. And that is shocking at first, until you understand that you truly are that deep value, that sacredness. You are divine. And when you realize that everyone is divine, it starts to become normal. And then you see that on this ascended reality, it's actually really relaxed and normal. And it's not special. It's just all-consuming everywhere. And that means that it is the norm. It is reality. And that's what it is. And then you lose the shock factor. And you've arrived in what you longed for. And the fourth twin flame shock is you're also, with the twin flame in your life, inviting what will be naturally present after the end of a genuine spiritual path. To be here already right now and do the path together. It is totally true that we live in a time right now in which you can walk together with your true twin flame in the now, and you don't need to wait anymore until a genuine spiritual path not only has been walked to completion, but after that it sinks in deeper, you relax into it, and then the spiritual representation of you, of the other complementary order, your twin flame, will come into your life as a law of nature. You will meet them, and you might want to have a close relationship and live life together or not. But that will happen is a law that after having completed a genuine spiritual path led by a teacher to the actual full completion, after that the twin flame will come. That has always already been so. There have been not many people that have walked such a full path, right? They have become spiritual teachers that are still well known, and we revere them because of that. There are not many that have walked that full path. Okay. But now we live in a time in which it is possible for people to have that experience from after the journey is over and you meet your twin flame, to have that sort of that situation come over to the beginning of the journey or more along the line of the journey earlier, and to decide for themselves that they want to walk the rest of that path together side by side with the true twin flame. And that can be also a great catalyst to have the transformation of the actual spiritual journey occur to you, the transmutation occur to you much more readily and much more easily and much more profound and much quicker. But you are also doing it together now. But like the lessons are even amplified and whatnot, so that you can't escape it anymore. It's really a commitment in a sense. We talk about harmonious twin flame union here, what it is about, because that's what true twin flame, the thing, is truly about. Otherwise you would just have maybe the right person, but you're only relating with two bodies. Well, what's the joy of that? And what is the spiritual truth of that? That's not really the thing you're even looking for, Or you think you have a very high vibration thing going on here, but it is actually not your true twin flame. That can also happen when you're not in harmonious union. So if you are in harmonious union, you've got all these things, you've got you've got them checked off, which is just great. So I truly advise going there first and then birthing from there your physical life that you build up. And then it will be really working out for you and will be harmonious and yeah, smooth and truly healing and truly joyful. You'll experience the joy it is actually supposed to be all about. So there you go. So it is dizzying because you are inviting at a place on the organic spiritual journey where you are right now, relatively in the beginning of that, and you're inviting the place, the consciousness place, that is traditionally from when people have, masters have, teachers have completed the spiritual journey fully and then sink in deeper and get their true twin flame, and you have brought that place, that consciousness place, in front, more in front, in the now on your spiritual journey. And that is like a little bit heavy duty, you know. It is profound. It has a true depth. It is absolutely rocking your world, if not completely destroying it, so that you can rebuild it on the right grounds. So that's important to emphasize here. But that's why it's shocking. So that may make it more understandable for you why it is so deep and why it is so shocking and why it is so profound and dizzying. And it is good to know that you're not a victim of this. It is good to know that on a deeper level you've chosen this when it appears in your life, and you can start to slowly understand that you are empowered and you can take it on as your own. And that's a beautiful piece of the process to accept and yeah, start to consciously take it on instead of being an unconscious sort of victim of this thing. You have chosen it, you have invited it. That's why it's in your life. It's good to start to accept. And this will also make the dizzying and shocking aspect of that go away over time after processing. Because it is so dizzying, it seems legit to ask the question, is it actually enough to walk the traditional spiritual journey for twin flame success? And I made this video about that I think will be helpful for you too. I hope to see you there. Much love from Petra.